Okay, let's start with a little thought experiment. I want you to picture something for me.
Oh,
No, no, it's a good one. If you're not, operating heavy machinery or driving, maybe close your eyes for just a second.
okay, I'm with you.
And just picture the word minimalist. What's the image that immediately pops into your head?
Yeah, I think I know exactly where this is going. It's the classic image, right? The stereotype.
It totally is. You see a monk, right? Or like some guy sitting cross-legged in a completely empty white room.
A blindingly white room.
Yeah.
Almost like a hospital.
A clinical white.
Yeah.
And there's what, one single wooden chair in the corner?
Maybe, if he's lucky.
Right. And maybe a single bowl of rice. He owns nothing, he wants for nothing, and he supposedly, achieved some kind of higher state of being through this radical emptiness.
It's the classic caricature, the monk in the white box.
Mhm.
And it's probably the single biggest misunderstanding of what we're talking about today.
Exactly. And I'll be honest, that image, it sounds miserable. It sounds like a punishment. If that is what minimalism was, if I had to sit here and tell you to sell your couch and live on the floor, I would have thrown this entire stack of research right into the recycling bin.
I wouldn't blame you at all. That stereotype is remarkably persistent.
Right.
But having spent the last few days synthesizing the output from Claude, DeepSeek, Gemini, and all our other sources, I can tell you that the monk in the box isn't just slightly off.
It's not.
It is the polar opposite of what modern minimalism is actually about.
And that is the big relief I really want to start with for everyone listening. We are not here to preach deprivation. We are not asking you to take a vow of poverty or anything like that.
No, not at all.
But we are tackling a topic that feels incredibly urgent right now. Because, frankly, almost everyone I know feels completely and totally overwhelmed. We're drowning.
The crisis of volume.
Yeah, drowning in stuff, drowning in notifications from our phones, drowning in commitments and obligations we don't even want.
It's too much noise.
So if we're not talking about those empty white rooms, what are we talking about? Let's nail down a working definition right at the top.
Okay, if you look at the consensus across the sources, and this is something Claude and DeepSeek really frame, well, minimalism isn't about deletion. It's about editing.
Editing. Okay, I like that word a lot more than, say, purging.
Me too. Think about it like a film editor.
Yeah.
A great editor doesn't just cut scenes to make the movie shorter. They aren't trying to reduce the runtime down to zero. That would be absurd.
Of course.
They cut the scenes that drag. They cut the dialogue that's confusing. They remove all the noise so that the signal, the actual story, the emotion, can shine through more powerfully.
So it's not about having less just for the sake of having less. It's about removing the interference.
Precisely. The sources frame it as a resource management strategy, which sounds a bit corporate, but it's accurate.
A resource management strategy for your life.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We tend to think of resources as just, money. But you have other, arguably more important finite resources. Your time, your mental energy, your focus, your patience.
Right.
Minimalism is simply a toolkit to help you stop squandering those precious resources on things. And that can be physical objects or obligations that don't give you a good return on your investment.
Toolkit is the key word there. We have a massive stack of sources today. We've got insights from Kimi, Copilot, Perplexity, ChatGPT, all of them. And the mission for this deep dive is to build a practical toolkit for what DeepSeek actually calls freedom.
Freedom from what, specifically?
Freedom from excess. Freedom from constant distraction. And maybe most importantly, freedom from the burden of the unimportant, the stuff that just weighs you down.
And we have a roadmap to get there. We look at the mindset first, the why behind it all. Then we'll get into the tactical, physical stuff, decluttering the house, the wardrobe,
The messy garage.
the messy garage.
Mhm.
Then we'll tackle the invisible, clutter your digital life. And finally, we'll talk about how to protect those key resources we just mentioned, your time and your money.
And I should warn you, some of these tactics we found are, they're pretty intense. We're going to talk about something called a packing party later, which sounds like an absolute nightmare, and a thing called the 90-90 rule.
But we have to start with the head game, the mindset, the why before the how.
See, here's my issue with starting with the why. It kind of feels like procrastination, you know? If my house is a total disaster, shouldn't I just grab a bunch of trash bags and start throwing things away? Why do I need to sit down and journal about my feelings first?
Because of entropy.
Yeah.
And because of basic human psychology.
Mm.
If you only treat the symptom, which are the piles of junk, without treating the underlying disease, which are the habits and the anxieties that created the piles in the first place,
You're just wasting your time.
they're wasting your time. The clutter always comes back.
Yeah, it does.
Nature abhors a vacuum. It's a fundamental principle. If you create empty space in your home, but you haven't fundamentally changed your relationship with stuff, your brain will subconsciously rush to fill that space up again. It's the rebound effect, like a crash diet.
I have definitely 100% done the rage clean. You know the one. You get so stressed out by the mess, you just snap, you scream, you throw everything into a bin, you feel amazing for about 4 days.
Oh, it feels great in the moment.
It's cathartic. And then 2 weeks later, the Amazon boxes start piling up by the door again, and you're right back where you started.
That is exactly what Claude warns against. The source uses this great phrase, awareness before purging. You have to identify what you are making room for. What's the goal?
So it's not about what you're getting rid of, but what you're making space for.
Yes. Are you clearing out that spare room so you can finally travel more and have less to worry about at home? Is it because you want to turn it into an art studio? Or is it simply to lower your cortisol levels because the constant visual noise is making you anxious?
So the why acts as a kind of filter or a shield.
A shield is a great way to put it.
If I know my goal is to clear space for that art studio, I'm a lot less likely to fill it with some random piece of gym equipment I see on sale that I know I'll never use.
Exactly. It gives you a defense against the marketing machine that's constantly screaming at you to buy more. And that brings us to a really core concept, which Gemini had some fascinating insights on. It's the idea of enough.
Enough.
We live in an economy that is designed from the ground up to manufacture desire. It's built to make you feel like you are not enough and what you have is not enough. There's always a better phone coming out, a faster car, a newer television.
The goalpost is always moving. By design.
By design. Minimalism as a philosophy asks you to step off that treadmill completely and define what enough looks like for you. Not for your neighbor, not for the Instagram algorithm, but for you and your life.
That feels radical.
It is. It's an act of rebellion, in a way.
DeepSeek had this analogy that it clicked for me immediately. It completely changed how I look at all this. They talked about the chef's knife.
Oh, I love this one. It's such a tangible way to understand the difference between value and quantity.
So, for everyone listening, just imagine a professional chef working in a high-end kitchen, a really top-tier place. Does that chef have 0 knives?
Of course not. That would be absurd. They couldn't do their job. They'd be fired.
Right. But, and this is the absolute key, do they have a drawer that's jammed so full of 30 cheap, dull knives they bought at a discount store 10 years ago that they can barely close it? Do they have a special banana slicer and a specific little avocado tool?
No. Never. Because those things are clutter, they're actually dangerous, they're inefficient, and they just get in the way of the important work.
The minimalist chef has maybe 3 knives, a chef's knife, a paring knife, a serrated knife. But they are the best knives. They are perfectly sharp, they're well-balanced, and they are used with skill every single day.
That is the distinction right there. Minimalism isn't about having nothing. It's about having the right things that function perfectly for your needs.
And think about the difference in the actual experience. If you've ever tried to cut a tomato with one of those cheap, dull knives, it's a struggle. You just smash the tomato, you get frustrated, it makes cooking a chore.
It's a terrible experience.
But cutting a tomato with a professional-grade, perfectly sharpened chef's knife, it just glides through. It's satisfying, it feels good.
It actually brings joy to the work.
That's the goal. You don't get extra moral points for suffering through life with bad tools just because you own fewer of them. The goal is to have the chef's knife version of your wardrobe, of your desk, of your car, the best, most useful tool for the job.
Gemini makes a really crucial distinction here that I think helps people who are a little afraid of the aesthetic side of this. They distinguish between essentialism and what they call aesthetic minimalism.
Break that down for me, because when I see those Instagram photos of like a perfectly beige room with one single dried flower in a vase, my first thought is, I can't live like that. I have a dog, I have hobbies, I have kids.
And you don't have to. That is aesthetic minimalism. It's a design style. It's about visual order. And it's great if you like that look, but it is absolutely not required to get the benefits.
So what's essentialism then?
Essentialism is about function and impact. You can be an essentialist and have a messy desk.
Wait, really? A minimalist with a messy desk? That sounds like heresy.
Think about it. If everything on that desk is vital to the big, important project you are working on right now, then yes. If you are a painter, having 50 tubes of paint out on your table isn't clutter. It's your toolkit. It's essential.
Okay, I see.
But if you are an accountant and you have 50 tubes of paint on your desk, that is clutter. It's about context. It's about what is essential for your life and your work.
That is a huge, huge relief. It's not about how it looks, it's about how it works. It's about removing the friction from your life, not just making your house look like a magazine.
Exactly. You can choose your own level on that spectrum.
Okay, so we've got the mindset sorted. We want to be the chef with the 3 perfect knives. We aren't just emptying the room to be holy, we're editing for clarity. Now let's get into the weeds. Section 2. Physical decluttering. The tactical toolkit.
The tactical stuff, where the real work begins.
This is where the rubber meets the road. And honestly, this is where the paralysis always sets in for me. I look at my garage or that one closet. We all have that one closet, right?
The closet of doom.
Closet of doom. And I just freeze. My brain just short circuits. It's too much to even think about starting.
That paralysis is the single biggest hurdle for most people. You look at the entire mountain and you give up before you even take the first step. And that's why Kimi, one of our sources, suggests breaking that paralysis with a brilliant concept called the seed zone.
The seed zone. It sounds like something from a gardening show.
In a way, it is. You're planting a seed of order. You ignore the garage. You ignore the basement. You ignore the closet of doom. You pick one small, completely controllable surface. A nightstand is usually the best candidate, or maybe the coffee table.
So not the whole bedroom, just the nightstand.
Just the nightstand. You clear it completely, take everything off it, wipe it down, and then you put back maybe a lamp, a book, and your alarm clock. That's it. And then you defend that one spot with your life. No mail, no empty glasses, no junk.
You treat it like sacred ground.
You do. The idea is based on some simple neuroscience. When you walk into a chaotic bedroom, your brain is subconsciously processing all that visual noise, the laundry pile, the receipts on the dresser, the stuff on the floor. It's a low-grade, constant micro-stressor.
Right.
But when your eyes land on that one clean, empty nightstand, your brain gets a tiny hit of relief, a little shot of dopamine. It's like a visual breath of fresh air.
It's a visual sanctuary in the middle of the chaos.
Exactly. And that feeling is surprisingly addictive. You start to think, wow, the nightstand looks so good, it actually makes the messy dresser next to it look even worse. So you think, maybe I should just do the top of the dresser. The order expands organically from that one small seed.
So you don't have to commit to cleaning the whole house for 8 hours on a Saturday. You just commit to keeping the nightstand clean for a week.
Right. It breaks the inertia. It's an easy win that builds momentum.
Okay, I can do a nightstand. That feels possible. But once we start expanding, we run into the other big problem, which is the constant flow of stuff coming in. I feel like I'm bailing water out of a boat, but there's a massive hole in the bottom.
That is where the one in, one out rule comes into play. This is cited by Gemini, Copilot, and DeepSeek. It's pretty much universally agreed upon as the golden rule of maintenance.
I've definitely heard of this one, but be honest with me, does it actually work? Or is it just one of those things that hyper-organized people say they do?
It works if you are rigorous and disciplined about it. It's the only sustainable way to fight entropy. Think of your home as a container with a fixed volume. If the container is full, you literally cannot put anything else inside without taking something out, or the container will overflow and create a mess.
So it forces a conscious trade-off with every single purchase?
It forces you to feel the true cost of acquisition. Let's use an example. Say you're at the store and you see a new pair of sneakers you really like. They look great. The rule says, if you buy these new sneakers, you must go home and choose a pair you currently own to donate or throw away.
Oof. Okay, that completely changes the calculation in my head. Suddenly those new sneakers aren't just $120. They cost $120 plus my favorite old pair of Nikes.
Exactly. You are forced to ask the question, do I want these new ones more than I want the old ones I already love? And very often, the answer is no. You put the new ones back on the shelf. You just saved $120 and you prevented future clutter from even entering your home.
It stops the mindless accumulation. It puts a speed bump, a moment of friction between the impulse and the purchase.
And on a practical level, it just keeps your inventory neutral. You never have more stuff tomorrow than you did today.
Okay, so that handles the new stuff coming in, but I still have to make all these hard decisions about the old stuff I already own. And this is where I get completely stuck on the what ifs. I'll pick up some weird kitchen gadget and my brain just goes, but what if I need to zest a lemon for a fancy party in 3 years?
Yes, the someday trap. It's so common. We hold on to things not for the person we are today, but for a fantasy version of the person we might be in the future.
The person who bakes their own bread and zests lemons.
Right. So how do we cut through that mental fog? You need objective rules. Feelings are messy and unreliable. Rules are clear and binary. Both Gemini and DeepSeek highly recommend a framework called the 90-90 rule.
Okay, break down the math on that for me.
It's very simple. You pick up the item in question, the lemon zester. You ask question 1, have I used this in the last 90 days?
Okay. For the zester, that's a definite no.
Right. If the answer is no, you immediately ask question 2, will I definitively, with a plan, use this in the next 90 days?
And if the answer is no to both questions?
Then it is, by definition, clutter. It needs to go.
That seems incredibly aggressive. I mean, what about my heavy winter coat? I'm not going to use that in the middle of July.
Of course. There are obvious common sense exceptions for seasonal gear, formal wear, or specialized emergency equipment. But for the vast majority of day-to-day items, your clothes, your electronics, your books, your kitchenware, it is a remarkably accurate filter.
So it's not for everything, but for most things.
For most things.
Yeah.
If you haven't touched it in a total of 6 months, that's 90 days back, 90 days forward, the statistical odds of you ever needing it again are almost zero. You're just storing it.
It puts a firm deadline on someday. It forces it to become this month or it's out.
It does. And for the trickier items, the things with maybe some sentimental value or things that are harder to quantify, DeepSeek suggests a modified version of a popular test. They call it the joy value test.
Is this just the Marie Kondo does it spark joy thing? Because sometimes that feels a little too abstract for me.
It's a modification of that with a practical edge. Sparking joy can be a bit nebulous for some people. My toilet plunger does not spark joy. My tax documents from 2022 certainly do not spark joy.
I should hope not.
So the modification adds a second crucial clause. Does it serve a specific necessary function? So the test becomes, does it spark joy? If not, does it do a necessary job? If the answer is no to both, why is it in your house?
That's the killer question right there. If it's not beautiful and it's not useful, it's basically a parasite. It's just living off your square footage rent-free.
Exactly. It's a freeloader in your home.
Now, the sources we looked at provided some, let's call them advanced tactics, for the brave, for the people who really want to rip the Band-Aid off and get it done.
Yes, the more extreme methods.
And there is one concept in here from a group called the Minimalists, which DeepSeek cited, that honestly, it scares me a little bit. It's called the packing party.
This is the nuclear option. It is not for the faint of heart.
Okay, explain this madness to me. What is a packing party?
It is essentially pretending you are moving house without actually moving. You spend an entire weekend packing everything you own into cardboard boxes.
Everything, like the TV, the toaster, the forks and spoons.
Everything. Your clothes, your toiletries, the art on the walls, the books on your shelves. You strip the house down until it looks like the day you moved in. Empty.
I am getting anxiety just visualizing this. So you're literally living in a fortress of cardboard boxes.
For a few weeks, yes. But here is the critical rule.
Mm-hmm.
You only unpack items as you actually need them.
Okay, so you're not unpacking it all at once.
No. So Tuesday morning, you need to brush your teeth.
Yeah.
You have to go find the bathroom box, dig through it, and find your toothbrush and toothpaste. You unpack them. Now they're part of your life again. Wednesday night, you decide you want to cook some pasta. You have to find the kitchen box and unpack one pot, one strainer, and one fork.
So you are pulling things out of storage in real time based on actual demonstrated necessity.
Precisely. And here is the profound revelation that everyone who does this experiences. After about 30 days, you look around your living space. You've unpacked your bed, your laptop, your favorite clothes, your coffee maker, the essentials. But then you look over at the corner of the room.
And there's still a mountain of unopened boxes.
A huge mountain.
Huh?
The data shows that for most people, about 80% of their possessions are still in those sealed boxes after a full month.
Wow. That is a brutal reality check. 80%.
It proves, with cold, hard data from your own life, that 80% of your stuff is just background texture. You didn't need it. You didn't even miss it. You probably forgot what was even in most of those boxes.
It completely breaks that emotional attachment. When an object is sitting on a shelf, your brain thinks, oh, I need that. But when it's in a sealed box for a month and you don't even think about it once, you realize you're already free of it.
It turns the hypothetical, I might need this someday, into the factual, I definitely did not need this for a month. At that point, donating the sealed boxes becomes incredibly easy.
But for those of us, and I'm putting myself firmly in this camp, who maybe aren't ready to live out of boxes for a month, is there a late version of this experiment?
Yes, absolutely. Kimi suggests a much less scary alternative called the duplicates hunt.
A duplicates hunt. Okay, how does that work?
It's simple. You take an empty box and you just walk through your house on a specific mission. You're looking for redundancies. The second garlic press, the third pair of scissors you keep in the junk drawer, the 5 extra HDMI cables that you've been saving since 2012.
The 3 nearly identical black t-shirts. The 4 spatulas when I only have 2 hands.
Exactly. You put all of those duplicates into the box. You don't make a decision yet. You just collect them. Then you take the box shut. You write today's date on it and you put it in a closet or the garage.
And then you just wait.
You wait for 30 days. If during that month you have a desperate need for one of those items, of course you can go and get it out of the box. But if 30 days pass and that box is remained sealed, you donate the whole box.
Without opening it to check.
Do not open the box. That is the most important rule. If you open it, you'll start second-guessing and bargaining with yourself. Oh, but this is a perfectly good spatula. Just trust the results of your experiment. If you didn't need it for a month, let it go and let someone else use it.
I love that. It limits the risk. You aren't throwing it away immediately. You're just putting it in a temporary quarantine. You're giving it a probation period.
Exactly. It's a low-stakes way to test your assumptions about what you actually need.
Okay, let's pivot for a minute to a very specific area that plagues almost everyone. It's often the very first decision we have to make every single day, and it can set the tone for everything else. The wardrobe.
Ah, the closet. The source of so much stress.
Why is it that I can have a closet that is physically bursting at the seams? Like, I actually have to shove the hangers to make them fit, and yet I wake up in the morning, stare into it, and have that sinking feeling that I have absolutely nothing to wear.
It's a classic psychological phenomenon called the paradox of choice. We have this intuitive belief that having more options gives us more freedom and makes us happier. But the research shows the exact opposite is true.
More is less.
More is less. When your brain looks at 50 different shirts, it gets overwhelmed. It can't possibly process all the potential combinations, so it just crashes. It defaults to the easiest conclusion, which is nothing in here is good. It's decision fatigue.
So the solution isn't a bigger closet. The solution is fewer choices.
Drastically fewer choices.
Yeah.
DeepSeek and Keeney both highlight a really popular and effective challenge for this. It's called Project 333. It was originally created by a writer named Courtney Carver.
Project 333. Okay, what are the rules?
The rules are simple, but they are strict. The challenge is to dress with only 33 items for a period of 3 months.
33 items total for a whole season.
Total. And that includes your clothing, your shoes, your jewelry, and your accessories like belts and scarves.
Wait. Does that include underwear and socks? Because if so, I am immediately out. That's just a hygiene issue.
Lars. No, don't worry. The rules are very clear about the exceptions. The unmentionables, underwear, socks, things like that don't count. Your sleepwear and any loungewear that you only wear inside the house also don't count.
What about workout clothes?
Workout gear doesn't count either, provided you actually work out in it. If you're just wearing yoga pants to brunch, then technically they should count as part of your 33.
Okay, that's fair. But still, 33 items for your work life, for going out to dinner, for weekends. My immediate fear is people will notice. I'll become that guy who wears the same blue shirt every Tuesday.
That is a near universal fear, and it's based on something called the spotlight effect. It's our tendency to think that people are paying way more attention to our appearance and actions than they actually are.
So we're basically just vain, and we think the world revolves around us.
A little bit, yes. The reality is nobody cares about your clothes. Everyone is far too busy worrying about their own outfits and their own lives. Keeney's source notes that the vast majority of people who complete Project 333 report that not a single person in their life noticed they were repeating outfits.
Not one person.
Not one. In fact, many people report getting more compliments on their style during the challenge.
How does that work?
Because if you only have 33 slots, you're not going to fill them with junk. You pick your absolute favorite, best fitting, highest quality items. You aren't wearing the shirt that kind of fits or the pants that are okay, I guess. You're wearing your all-stars every single day.
That makes perfect sense. And just think about the time and mental energy you save in the morning. If you only have 33 things and they all mix and match well, getting dressed takes 10 seconds.
You reclaim all that brain power for something that actually matters in your day.
This connects directly to another core concept Gemini mentions, which is the idea of quality over quantity.
Yes. This is often summarized as the Boots theory of socioeconomic unfairness.
Explain that theory.
It actually comes from a Terry Pratchett fantasy novel, but it's a brilliant piece of economic observation. The idea is that it is paradoxically expensive to be poor. A rich man can afford to buy a beautiful, well-made $100 pair of leather boots that will last him 10 years.
Okay.
A poor man can only afford the cheap $20 boots. but they're poorly made, so they fall apart every season, and he has to buy a new pair every year. So over the course of 10 years, the poor man spends $200 on boots, and he still has wet feet half the time.
So buying cheap is actually more expensive in the long run. Minimalism is about playing the long game with your finances and your possessions.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Instead of buying 5 cheap, trendy shirts from a fast fashion brand that shrink and fall apart in the wash, you save up that money and you buy one incredible, timeless shirt. It looks better, it feels better on your skin, and it lasts for years.
You're essentially building a capsule wardrobe, a small collection of high-quality, versatile items.
Yes. Lots of versatile neutrals, high-quality fabrics. You naturally stop chasing fleeting trends because you simply don't have the slots in your 33 items to waste on garbage that will look dated in 6 months.
I like that framing. It's not just about style, it's a smarter way to manage your money.
Which leads us perfectly into the next section, because in the year 2026, the most dangerous, insidious, and stressful clutter isn't in our closets anymore. It's in our pockets.
Oh boy. I knew this was coming. Section 4, digital minimalism.
This is where the modern battle is really being fought. Gemini's source argues, and I completely agree, that digital clutter is now often more stressful than physical clutter.
Do you really buy that? A messy room feels pretty stressful to me.
I buy it 100%. Think about it this way. You can leave your messy house, you can walk out the front door, go to a park, and for a little while the mess is gone. You get a break. But your phone?
It's always with you.
It's in your pocket. The clutter follows you everywhere. It buzzes at you while you're trying to have dinner with your family. It interrupts you when you're trying to focus on work.
It's an intrusion. It's like having a messy room that also screams your name every 10 minutes.
What a perfect description, yes. So we have to learn how to tame that noise.
Okay, so where do we start? Wiping my phone clean feels even more overwhelming than cleaning my garage.
The first, most impactful tactic is something called notification fasting. And it uses a very simple binary filter to decide what gets through.
Binary how?
Human versus non-human.
Oh, I like that. Simple.
You go into your phone's settings, you look at the notification permissions for every single app, and you ask one question. Does this notification represent a real human being trying to speak directly to me? If it's a text message, a phone call, a direct message from a friend, that's a human. You can leave those notifications on.
And if it's not a human?
If it's an app trying to sell you something or give you breaking news or telling you your ride is 50% off this weekend, or even someone like your photo, that is a robot. That is a corporate algorithm trying to hijack your dopamine system to sell you ads or increase its engagement metrics. You turn it off.
Be absolutely ruthless about it.
Completely ruthless. If the source of the notification is not a person who knows your name, it is just noise. It has no right to demand your immediate attention.
That is such a simple and powerful heuristic. Is this a person? If no, shut up.
It completely breaks the reactive loop. You start to check your phone when you want to check it, on your own terms, not when the phone whistles at you like a dog. You regain control.
Gemini also called me out personally on something. They mentioned the concept of digital hoarding, and they specifically called out the hoarding of 4,000 blurry photos of your lunch. I felt seen.
Less. We are all guilty of that one. The digital attic is full of junk.
But I have to ask, does it really matter? I mean, cloud storage is incredibly cheap. I pay a couple of bucks a month for terabytes of space. Why should I spend my precious Saturday deleting old screenshots of memes?
Because it creates mental friction. It's not about the storage cost, it's about the attention cost. When you want to find that one beautiful photo of your daughter's first day of school or that important scanned document, and you have to scroll past 500 blurry accidents, memes, and screenshots of text conversations, that is a micro-stressor.
It's that visual noise again, just in a different format.
It devalues the good stuff. If you have 10,000 photos, you effectively have 0 photos, because you never look at any of them. The sheer volume makes the collection unusable. But if you have 100 curated, beautiful, meaningful photos, you cherish them. You look at them.
It's the needle in the haystack problem. If you just keep making the haystack bigger and bigger, you'll never find the needle when you need it.
Exactly. So do a cloud audit every few months, delete the digital trash, go on an unsubscribing spree from all the email newsletters you never read.
Achieving inbox zero isn't just a productivity hack. It's a way to keep your primary digital environment sanitary and calm. And what about our daily habits with these devices? Kimi's source suggested something about using airplane mode in the mornings.
This is an absolute game changer. Most of us The first thing we do when we wake up is turn off our alarm on our phone and then immediately start scrolling. We check our email, we check the news, we check social media.
I do this every single morning. I'm guilty.
What you are doing psychologically is starting your day on defense. You are letting the entire world's chaos and demands dictate your mood before you've even had a chance to brush your teeth. You see a stressful email from your boss, boom, your cortisol spikes. You see some terrible news story, your mood tanks for the rest of the day.
So what's the alternative? How do you break that cycle?
The alternative is to keep your phone on airplane mode for the first hour of your day, or at the very least until after you've had your first cup of coffee and you're fully awake. Start your day on offense. You decide what you think about first. You own your morning.
The phone is a tool that you pick up when you need it, not a tether that's constantly pulling on you.
That's the mantra. It serves you, not the other way around.
I feel attacked, but in a very good and necessary way. Okay, let's move on to section 5. We've cleaned the house, we've cleaned the phone. Now let's talk about protecting our most vital, non-renewable resources, our time and our money. Because really, when you boil it all down, minimalism is just an economic strategy for your life.
It's resource allocation, plain and simple.
Let's start with the money. How does minimalism save us money? Beyond the obvious, just don't buy as much stuff.
It's about being more intentional. It's about breaking that powerful dopamine loop of impulse buying. ChatGPT and DeepSeek both recommend a very simple but effective technique called the 30-day rule.
Okay, walk us through how the 30-day rule works.
It's essentially a mandatory cooling-off period for non-essential purchases. You're online or you're in a store and you see something you want, a new watch, a gadget, a jacket. The impulse is to buy it right now, but you don't.
What do you do instead?
You simply take out your phone, open a notes app, and write down the item and the date. You create a want list. And then you wait. You force yourself to wait 30 days.
And what if I still want it after 30 days?
If a full month has passed and you still have that same burning desire for it, and you've thought about how it will fit into your life, then go buy it. It's probably a well-considered purchase. But what the sources say is that 90% of the time, you will look at that list a month later and think, why on earth did I want that so badly? Or you'll have forgotten about it completely.
The immediate, powerful emotion fades.
Exactly. A lot of what we call retail therapy is just a quick, cheap hit of dopamine to fix a bad mood or boredom. The 30-day wait lets that chemical rush subside so you can make a clear, rational decision with your money, not an emotional one.
It saves your wallet from your own mood swings.
It does. And it enables what DeepSeek calls conscious spending. This is a really important point. Minimalism is not about being cheap. It is not about never spending money or buying the cheapest possible version of everything.
Right, it's not about deprivation.
It's about spending generously and extravagantly on the few things you truly love and value. Maybe that's travel or great food or education for your kids, and then cutting absolutely ruthlessly on all the meaningless stuff you don't care about.
It's about allocation. I'm not spending $100 a month on random clutter from Amazon so that I can spend that money on a trip to Italy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You are funding your real dreams by defunding your mindless distractions.
Now, what about time? DeepSeek calls this the ultimate resource. And it's true.
It is. It's the only resource you can't get more of. You can always make more money. You cannot make more time. Once today is gone, it is gone forever.
So how do we apply minimalism to our time? How do we hoard time?
You have to learn and master the power of no.
This is so hard for so many people. We're social animals. We're conditioned to be helpful. We want to be nice. We want to say yes to things.
We do. But Copilot Source frames it in a way that really helped me understand it. Every single time you say yes to something minor, a coffee meeting you don't really need to be at, a committee you don't care about, a favor that drains you, you are automatically and simultaneously saying no to something else.
That is the opportunity cost right there.
It's the hidden cost. You might not realize it, but you are saying no to an hour of rest. You are saying no to reading a book to your child. You are saying no to the deep, focused work that could actually move your career forward.
So saying no to a low-value request isn't being rude or selfish. It's being protective of the things that actually matter.
It is protecting your most important yeses. If you fill your calendar up with junk obligations, you have no room left for the good stuff when it comes along.
And that leads directly to this other concept from the sources, the idea of scheduling white space.
Yes, this is a very practical application of that idea. I want you to look at your calendar for next week. Is every single block filled? 9 a.m. meeting, 10 a.m. call, 11 a.m. project work lunch meeting?
Usually, yes. back to back. It feels productive to be that busy.
It feels productive, but it's actually incredibly dangerous and fragile. It means you have zero margin for error. If one meeting runs late by 10 minutes, the entire day dominoes into chaos. If you get a headache or need a break, the whole system collapses.
So what exactly is white space?
It is the act of intentionally blocking out time on your calendar for nothing. Literally, create an appointment with yourself called Do Not Schedule or Thinking Time.
Just blank time. That I have to defend.
Blank time, time to think, time to go for a walk, time to just catch up and breathe. It is the buffer that keeps the engine of your life from overheating.
It's like the silence between the notes that actually makes the music possible.
That's a beautiful way to put it. And it's true. Real innovation and deep thought doesn't happen when you are sprinting from one Zoom meeting to the next. It happens in the quiet moments of white space.
And even within the work blocks that we do schedule, Kimi suggests a strategy of monotasking.
The opposite of multitasking. The idea is to limit yourself to 3 must-do items per day, your 3 most important tasks.
Only 3. My daily to-do list sometimes has 20 items on it.
And at the end of the day, how many of those 20 do you actually finish?
Maybe 2. And then I feel guilty and stressed about the other 18 I didn't get to.
Exactly. You're setting yourself up for a feeling of failure every single day. If you list 20 things, you'll never win. But if you identify the 3 absolute highest leverage priorities and you finish them, you won the day. You can go home with a feeling of completion and success.
It's about winning the mental game with yourself.
So much of what we've talked about today is about winning that mental game.
Which brings us to the home stretch here. Yeah. Section 6. We have to talk about maintenance and the reality check because I feel like I could do all of this. I could purge the house, lock down my phone, clear my calendar, but then life happens.
Entropy always returns.
The clutter starts to creep back in, the emails pile up again, and then I feel like a failure, like I've fallen off the wagon.
And that is probably the single most important message from Gemini Source. Entropy is real. You will reclutter. It is not a moral failure on your part. It is a fundamental law of physics. The universe tends toward disorder.
So minimalism isn't a destination you arrive at. It's not a one-and-done project.
No, it is a practice. It's a discipline. You don't become a minimalist and then get a certificate and retire. You practice it every day. It's like dental hygiene. You have to brush your teeth every day. You'll brush them once for 5 hours and then say, okay, good. I'm done with dental hygiene for the rest of my life.
So we need a recurring maintenance schedule to keep it in check.
Exactly. Kimi suggests creating quarterly declutter calendars.
Instead of that one single dreaded spring cleaning marathon once a year.
Right. Spring cleaning is so overwhelming because you've let the mess and clutter build up for 12 straight months. It's a mountain. Instead, you schedule a reset weekend every 3 months, a 2-hour sweep to get things back to your baseline.
Just a quick tune-up to get back to neutral.
Exactly. It keeps the entropy manageable and prevents it from ever getting to that crisis point again.
And perplexity adds a final, more philosophical layer to this idea of maintenance that I think is really beautiful. It's the practice of gratitude.
This is the ultimate antidote to the desire for more. It's the proactive defense.
How so? What's the connection?
Think about why we accumulate things in the first place. Why do we constantly want to buy more? Often, it's because we're operating from a place of perceived lack. We focus on what we don't have. I don't have that car. I don't have that new phone. I don't have that dress.
It's a scarcity mindset. My life isn't good enough as it is.
Gratitude, as a conscious practice, forces you to focus on what you do have. It completely shifts your mindset from scarcity to abundance.
If I take a moment every day to be truly grateful for and appreciate the comfortable chair I'm already sitting in, I'm probably not going to be browsing online for a new chair.
Exactly. When you genuinely value what is already in your life, your health, your relationships, the functional things you own, the frantic desire to bring in more stuff naturally begins to fade away. You start to realize on a deep level that you already have enough.
And that brings us right back full circle to where we started, the mindset of enough, the why.
It's the foundation and the capstone of the whole practice.
Oh, we have covered a massive amount of ground today. We started by completely busting the myth of the monk in the white box.
We replaced the idea of deletion with editing. We adopted the chef's knife mentality of quality over quantity.
We established the power of the seed zone on our nightstands. We learned the 90-90 rule to kill all of our excuses about someday. We even talk about the terrifying but incredibly effective packing party.
We fixed our wardrobes with Project 333 and learned that, honestly, nobody cares what we wear.
We quieted the noise from our phones with notification fasting by asking, is this a human? And we learned to say no to protect our most valuable asset, our time.
It's a pretty comprehensive system for a more intentional life.
It really is. And it's all about making room. Claude's source summed it up best. We are clearing the path for the things that actually matter. Our relationships, our creativity, and our rest. That is the entire point.
That is the freedom we were talking about at the beginning.
Now, before we let you go, I want to leave you with one final thought experiment. It goes back to that packing party concept, but you can do this one just in your head.
Even if you don't actually get the cardboard boxes out, you can run the simulation.
I want you to walk through your house tonight after you're done listening to this. Look at your things. Look at the boxes in the garage. Look at the clothes in the back of the closet that you haven't worn in years.
Imagine every single one of those items is packed away in a sealed box.
Now, imagine you had to pay a monthly storage fee for every single one of those boxes. What would you actually pay to keep? What is so valuable to you that it's worth a recurring monthly fee?
And then here's the punchline. Realize that you are paying that fee.
You are paying for it in rent. You are paying for it in your mortgage interest. You are paying for it with your time to clean and organize it, and with the mental energy of just having it all there.
So the final question is it worth the cost?
That's the question. Think about it. Thanks for diving deep with us today. Go edit your life.
See you guys.